You know, family, sometimes when you are wrong, you have to admit that you're wrong. And I come on this app trying to educate people and I put stuff out there. And when you wrong, sometimes you got to take those lumps and admit that you were wrong. So my man here said, gotcha, laugh out loud. No archaeological findings to prove his name is not YHWH or Yahawah. Bet, look up the Mesha stone. Checkmate. And like I said, my brother sent the message. And so I went and checked it out. And sometimes you got to admit when you're wrong. But in this case, it ain't me that's got to admit that they're wrong. Roll the tape. This here is the Mesha stone. It is telling the story from King Moab's perspective of his defeat of King David and Israel. So let's take a look at what it says. So here's where it gets interesting. As king of Moab is telling the story of his supposed defeat of Israel. And let's start at line 14. He says at the bottom, I went in the night and I fought there from dawn until noon, took it and killed everyone, 7,000 men, boys, women, daughters, and pregnant women, because I devoted it to Ashtar Chemosh. I took from there the hearth, altars of, wait a minute, that don't say Yahweh. That don't say Yahuah either. That says Yahweh. Now, you would think before sending me this message and the whole checkmate thing, you would think that he had actually looked this up and found some credible source that said something other than the name I've been telling people is the sacred name of God, which is Yahweh. You would think he would look that up. But no, 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 I'm sorry. This came from biblicalarchaeology.org. That's a Christian site. It's obviously going to be telling because Edomites are responsible for that. Let's go to a non Christian site and see what it says. But before we do, this was written and translated by Andre Lemaire, a professor of Hebrew and Aramaic philology. Now, what is philology? Because I didn't know. Let's look it up. Philology is the study of literary texts and of written records and the establishment of their authenticity in their original form and the determination of their meaning. So he would know what it actually means. He's a expert in this and of older linguistics, especially historical and comparative linguistics. So he would know how to translate this, right? Let's go to the next source. The New World Encyclopedia is not a Christian site, and it says the stele is also significant in that it mentions the Hebrew god YHWH. It is thought to be the earliest known reference to the sacred name of God as the God of Israel in any artifact. Not Yahuwah, not Yahawah, but Yahweh. Let's go to another one. Here's another non-Christian site, worldhistory.org, and it says, I took the vessels of Yahweh, YHWH, and hauled them before the face of Chemos. You're not helping your case here, brother. Now, y'all know I don't like Chat GPT, but we just gonna ask the internet. Somebody got to help him out, right? So, does the Mesha stone present evidence for the Tetragrammaton being transliterated as Yahuah? Why do they say? While some argue that variations of the divine name, such as Yahu or Yah, appear in other inscriptions, the Mesha stele itself does not provide evidence for the pronunciation Yahuah. The pronunciation Yahuah is a modern reconstruction that lacks direct historical or linguistical support from ancient inscriptions. It goes on to say that the most widely accepted scholarly reconstructions of the divine name are Yahweh or similar variations. I'm going to ask one more time. He didn't say Yahuwah, he said Yahawah. So the pronunciation Yahawah is a modern reconstruction that does not have direct support from ancient inscriptions or linguistic evidence. The Tetragrammaton YHWH appears in ancient Hebrew texts, including the Mesha stele and the Hebrew Bible, but the original vocalization was not recorded since Hebrew writing did not originally include vowels. The Yahawah pronunciation appears to be a modern invention. You can't make this stuff up. Ooh, Jesus, I'm sorry. Ooh, Yeshua. Often associated with certain Hebrew Israelite groups, but lacks historical or linguistic validation from ancient texts or inscriptions. So no, my friend, this isn't checkmate. It isn't even close. The least you could do is if you're going to send a source, if you're going to send a manuscript, if you're going to send a piece of archaeology, look it up and make sure that it actually says what you think that it says. Because if you send me something, I'm going to look it up. One, because I'm interested in finding truth. And if I found something that actually said Yahuwah, I would actually look at it. But to date, I have looked and I have looked and looked, and I haven't found anything that says the name Yahuwah. I haven't been sent anything that says the name Yahuwah. So again, the name is a modern invention. When we come across this type of evidence, family, and I say this with sincere love, when we come across this type of evidence, every single piece of evidence is saying that the Tetragrammaton is best transliterated as Yahweh. Not a single piece of evidence says that it should be transliterated as Yahuah. Not one. And every piece of literature that you all send, the Restoration Bible, the Sefer Scriptures, all of this other good stuff, every single one of them is translated by someone that does not have any education or training in the language of Hebrew. So, can we put this to bed? I'm ready to start talking to people that believe that Easter is pagan. Let's go.